Hey guys! So I hope it's all working. I'm outside and it's a beautiful day, South Carolina, and I hope my internet is strong enough that this is going to be working. And I hope the sun doesn't start to set too much and get too dark on us, but I think we're going to be okay. Yes, so I'm sorry about last week. Totally couldn't couldn't get there from where we were, from a little tiny small town in Wisconsin. It was a great visit. Saw so many wonderful people, saw my family, um, saw all my regular students, which was really great, really, really fun. Um, yeah, I drove up on a Saturday, taught like 6 lessons Sunday, 12 the next day, 12 the next day, I think 12 the next day, and then two, and then 13 and 12 again. So it was action packed. And I wanted to just actually do like a little clinic recap because um, like a lot of times when I teach, I do my best to teach in a way that you could take like bullet point notes because I'm a note taker and everybody should get an equestrian journal. um, but like I love bullet points. I love to just write everything down. I like to remember things in that way. And so I picked a couple of special lessons from the tour, the Team Tate Academy Spring 2021 tour. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about a couple of really important things that came up and great conversations that we had regarding horse training. So I actually forgot my glass of wine inside, so I even had my Devon glass ready. But anyway, it's right inside, and Devon's close to my heart because we need to let everybody know we are doing our best to make it the best show ever, and we would love everyone to spread the word to donate. You can go right to their website, click on the donate now button. We've got some awesome things planned like live streaming, all kinds of great things. And so we would love to have everybody involved and tell anyone you know who would want to be a bigger sponsor. We're looking for title sponsors, but anything anybody can give would be great to make Devon just that much better. It's my favorite horse show ever. Um, I mean, Fairden was pretty cool, and I dream of going to Aachen. But Devon in this country is for sure my favorite. So I would love everybody to, yeah, share the news that we would love help supporting the show and getting the live stream going. So in case you can't come, you live too far away, you can still watch and, get more stories and more behind the scenes. We've got some really great ideas. So go there and help us put that on. Yeah, what else? Oh, I mean, of course we have Charles coming. So that's not this weekend, but next weekend. That's the 4th through the 6th of June. Can't wait. Can't wait. But the most amazing news of that is you can live stream it from home. So anywhere in the world, we're having a camera crew. It's going to be like a football game. I mean, I hope there's no like tackling or wrestling going on, but we're going to have like 2 or 3 different camera angles. Like we've really delved in to the live streaming. It's going to be awesome. So tell your friends. You can rewatch it whenever you want. You'll get the recording of it, but it's going to be like no other clinic. I mean, I've never seen a clinic like this, and I've certainly never put one on. I was a little skeptical because it was a big investment to do it. And now we're just excited to be able to share it with you guys. And I mean, Charles. I mean, you just need to witness this man and his magic. I mean, it's amazing. We're going to have a lot of different level riders. I mean, it's just, some people who've never ridden with him before. So it's going to be pretty magical. So y'all sign up because you will not regret it. I am telling you, I have like hours and hours of video of this man teaching. I have pages and I have notebooks filled with this man's words. I do my best to share it all with you guys, not only here, but in the academy and in my clinics. He's amazing. And I mean, you should hear it from him. I mean, you hear it through me, but to hear the Charles, it'll change your life. I know that sounds really dramatic, but it's true. So sign up for that. We would love to have you guys join. We're going to be doing, it's going to be really fun. We're going to be doing some rider interview, like after they get done riding, rider recap, you'll be able to watch their ride, but then also like hear their takeaways, things that they felt or got a light bulb about, or what they struggled with, or yeah, it's going to be very, very cool. So we cannot wait for that. We are busy preparing. There is a lot of things to do, as everyone knows who owns a farm. Never ends. But we're really excited about that. I'm also excited about, because I get easily unexcitable. I'm really all the time just like, there's a good podcast coming out on Friday. I'm excited about this one because this is showing up in life, strategies for being present in your life when it gets difficult. And last year was difficult. So I'm not exactly sure what time of the year the girls took that podcast from, but last year was hard. There was a lot of loss. There was a lot of death, stress, right? I mean, COVID was just a tough thing. Throw in there some terrible life events. It was a lot. Horses, close people to me. There was a lot. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think I've had ever a year with that much loss, deep loss, ever. So that, yeah, hopefully you guys will find some inspiration in the podcast. So that's coming out. And yeah, so like the theme of this one, Wine About It Wednesday, is the importance of not getting stuck. And I know that's not like a great title, because I guess probably stuck should not be in the title, but it's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. I mean, when we're by ourselves, working through problems with the horse all the time, I mean, getting stuck everywhere is hard, right? Like, how do I stay inspired in my career, in my job, in my life, in my marriage, as a mother, whatever. There's like, sometimes you just get going through the, just putting one foot in front of the other. And it's hard to stay fresh and inspired, or, able to just not keep going through the motions. And so part of, I really take it serious. Part of my job when I go and teach clinics is to, really inspire a different outlook or understanding. And I want someone to think about like, I never thought of it that way. Or, and for me, I always joke that I'm like the marriage counselor between the horse and the person. And I'm like the third party. I'm like the neutral third party, that I am like the translator of what each are attempting to say to the other. And things get lost in translation. I mean, that's, my dad, always says, what I said and what you heard and what I meant and what you understood can be like four different things. So I definitely feel the same thing with horses, that we do need translators. And we also need someone to help us with a fresh outlook and, inspiration in being able to kind of cut through the crap and just like get to the main point. So that was so much fun, actually. I rode a lot more. I rode a lot more horses this time. And I don't know why. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I can teach a lot better if I have a fresh feel of the horse or a fresh perspective on what the horse is saying. I can hear that a lot better if I get on. So there was a couple horses that I rode, um, which then really helped me explain it to the horse and then explain it to the rider so that they can have the same result. So that was really a ton of fun. And that actually happened day one. And I'll just give you a quick overview. The first day I went to Bristol Equestrian, where Gail and Wayne, Gail Keln, who was my first instructor. So that was like really fun, total full circle. And I taught her students, and it was really private. And so we were able to really discuss all the processes and the concepts and mix together. It was kind of a great collaboration, you know. I don't want to step into the clinic and be like, I am the clinician and I have all the answers and you must do now this totally different thing. You know, that's like not, that doesn't work. I always say to my students, what you want to do is add in something that you might feel is helpful, but don't replace everything that you've been doing well. You know, it isn't like a erase everything and try this new thing. It's so much about, I mean, also the horse would be totally confused. So it's also important to like, you as the rider need to also be the translator for the horse of this new perspective or new information and blend it into what you're already doing. You know, really deep change comes very slow. So it isn't like this giant like firework of a thing. You know, it's all, you know, chopping the wood. And, you know, yes, we will help you sharpen your blades and have a better technique, but there's no shortcut into the work that it takes to be really good. So from Bristol, then I went down to Wild Rose Farm at Jean's place and worked with Katie Hiller and all her students. Always really fun. So many of my favorite people. I did stop at Pam Doolittle's place. That was also fun. Then I went to Meg Dishler's place, and they're like half an hour away from each other, so that was kind of fun. I could stay at my mom's house and then go back and forth when I wasn't staying at Katie's house. So I taught a day and a half at Katie's and a day and a half at Meg's. That was wonderful. So much progress. Such great conversations. It was really fun. Like the whole clinic started up at Gail's, and we just, you know, just delved into going into the good stuff, you know, and it like that just continued through the whole entire week. Because then on Thursday I drove to Kentucky and I was at Battle Creek Dressage, Laura Burkett's beautiful place in Goshen, Kentucky. And the first day was 13 lessons and the second day was 12. So we were busy. And then the best part, we could go out for dinner and we could just keep talking about horses. So that was like the first time in a long time we could actually go out for dinner and eat in a public place and yeah, talk more horses. So that was really fun. But anyway, I'm just going to pick a couple of interesting lessons that we had kind of at each location. And Michelle actually, I think you spell her, say her name, Siraki. She had told me what she really found awesome was my process of when I look at a horse, where do I look? How does that translate to the rider? Who's causing what? So I'm definitely going to tackle that probably next week or the week after, but there's not enough time to do all the things and talk about all the things. But I wanted to start with Liz Allard because she was my childhood best friend for my, like, all growing up. We rode together for Gail and Wayne, and wonderful youth growing up. And so Liz has this interesting young mare who clearly had been doing hunters. We really think it was a standing martingale, um, and not a running martingale, because she has like a lot of tension in the base of her neck. It's a beautiful horse, but really didn't have like really good basics to carry yourself in the best way, as well as, like, for me, and I'll go into this also like throughout this whole talk about all the different horses I sat on and taught, but like body harmony is one of the biggest things I want to see, I want to feel. Connection and balance are probably my number two, my two top things, but those lead to then body harmony, like that the horse can truly use its body, feel its body, experience its body in the most beautiful way it's meant to be functioning. Um, I always talk about in the academy lessons, free, forward, flowing. That the horse should be, free in their mind, free in their body. They should be forward thinking as a state of mind and able to be going forward, unconstrained. And then the flow part is that balance of being able to flow from different gaits, smaller steps, longer steps, different directions, changes of bend, gate to gate, all of those things. Like those three F's are really important to me. But, when I think about like, what do I first do when I get on? And I got on Liz's horse. Um, and I think, one of the jobs as a teacher is, again, how to figure out the best way to translate to the horse what we want. Help the horse find the yes and the release of pressure. Um, and so the horse was really defensive in the neck because of this old history of martingale, and then the more she probably pulled against it, the tighter they probably made it. We don't know this. This is just a little bit the story that the horse's body tells you. And so how do you work through that? Like, what do you go towards first? And Rachel, who also is a wonderful rider at Gales, and she's got a wonderful young horse as well, young gelding. So automatically, he's a little easier because he's a boy. Gelding, because stallions are a whole nother thing. Um, and she was talking about the value of a consistent connection, and that it is okay to seek that. And for me, like, and through, all my wonderful teachers, including Gail, who they both ride with, it's so much about the horse must go on the bit. And, Charles would always say, like, all first energies must go towards roundness. And then secondly, towards locomotion. And a lot of times people want to go, more forward, more forward, more forward to kind of fix problems in the connection or in the balance. And for me, it's really important that I help the horse find this connection with me and this balance with me through the correct posture, so that when they go forward, it's going to feel good to their bodies. Otherwise, why would they want to do it if it doesn't feel good, right? If the horse is like running over its front feet, braced in the neck, um, agitated about whatever, and we're just like riding it more forward, and it's got its head up, and it's, um, I really seek that place of harmony and true connection, so that then together as a unit we can then like move forward together. Um, Something that I do when I first get on, like, let's say that horse is really defensive in the contact. So I don't want to be really like strong, but I want to be like gentle but stable. I don't want to be strong, but I want to be guiding and stable in both of my reins. And then pretty adamant, and I did not have any spurs on, and I did not ride with a whip because I felt like that would be like agitating to her. but I was able to kind of like thump quite a bit with my leg. And it was a little bit like this adamant, like, woman, mama, you must make an effort. You must make an effort to hear me, to understand me, to make a different choice than what you're doing, which is, bracing against the hand and tightening the back, going crooked, like all these things. And of course, horses evade in three ways: speed, inversion, and crookedness, which y'all should know because you're in my academy. And y'all follow Charles, and he breaks it down always so clearly and simply as well. But she's like throwing all these, she's like an evasion piler. Richard Williams used to always talk about that. Like, she's very smart. She's got a lot of baggage in her body. And so she's going to like pile all these evasions. And it's important to like picking up sticks. Like, I'm going to pick up this stick. You need to go on the bit. Then I'm going to pick up this stick. You need to get straighter through your outside shoulder. I'm going to pick up this stick. You need to now cover more ground. But like, covering ground is never the first thing I want to do. But I'm very adamant with my leg. I'm like incessantly patient and adamant about the horse needing to make an effort, so that it's up to her that my thumping leg, she can take that away, right? Like the pressure and the release of pressure of, you need to get lined up. You need to get aligned and stacked up. And here is where you need to accept my bit. You need to accept this bit on both sides, round up your back, hoop up through your neck, seek my hand, and then cover more ground in a more voluminous stride. And that for me is like lesson one. That is like the first thing I want to do, is like get the horse over the back, flowing, so they can find the harmony, so that they'll want to do it again the next day, in a way. So, I really want to encourage the horse to get curious about what I'm saying, and to seek to understand me by me being very clear. We always talk about clarity is kindness with horses. And it's really important that our aids, we worked a lot this last week on the clinic tour of like, Charles would always say aids by design and not by accident, because, the horse can't be filtering through all this different information. You have to make sure what you say you're riding on purpose and with purpose, and the horse can then learn to listen to you as well. So that was a really fun, yeah, the horse was a little bit misbehaving before. It was really fun to like get them on the right track and get really clear with the horse of like what we want her to do and how we want her to do it, and carriage and eventual ground cover is really what the name of the game is. So then I went down to Jean's beautiful farm, Wild Rose Farm, right around the corner from my old farm, Wingate. So that's always fun to be back in my old stomping ground. And I helped Katie Hiller, and I also rode her horse too. Ride, horse. And it was interesting because, again, on this whole theme of like, don't get stuck, it was going to be really easy for Liz, back to her beautiful horse, Enya. It's going to be really a challenge for Liz not to get stuck in this horse's factual, historic body, right? Like, she had a bad beginning, and so we don't want to not have empathy for the horse and understanding why she does what she does, but we also have to have a clear path of what we want her to do and how we want her to do it. And we have to be clear and concise and consistent how we show her how to do that. So then Katie also, it's easy to, her horse has a little bit of a stiffness on the left rein. We've been working on the stiffness on the left rein, like most horses. 98% of her four-legged friends called horse on the planet are also stiff on the left rein. But I got on her and I was bending her to the right. And I was like, Katie, there's a little bit of a drag on this rein on the right. And so by drag, um, what I mean by that is a lot of times when you are like fishing and you are just trolling along with your fishing pole off the back, and all of a sudden you feel the line like catch on something. That becomes a drag. So, you got to stop the boat because, is it, uh, and you feel it right away if it's a fish or if it's an adamant object like seaweed or a log or something on the, lake floor. And so that minute you feel that pull on the line, then you got to stop the boat and like get your hook like off of it. And so we started calling it that over the week. Like I want to feel an elastic, just gooey feel through the contact. That there's no like, there's no brace, there's no lock. It's just elastic and following my rein. I could stretch the horse down if I wanted. I could give both reins, and maybe I don't want him to stretch his neck, but he's light and recyclable. So we started to talk about this, like how do you create that awesome feeling in the contact? And that's about, for Katie, it was so easy for her to get stuck on the notion that this horse that she has trained since it's 3 years old, and now she's 8, she's tough on the left rein. But so many times we got to go to the opposite side of the stiffness because we are really going to fix the left tightness, right? And it's so easy to get focused on the heavy rein because the horse is like over contacting the heavy rein. But it's actually the light rein that we want them to connect more to. And so for me, the minute I went to the right, I was like, ooh, like she's not totally through on this right side. So again, Stana is asking, how do you fix the drag? It again comes to connection. And I always want to check right hind leg to right rein, left hind leg to left rein. When I have that, I can diagonalize them and go right hind to left rein, left hind to right rein. And that's all in the academy. It's coming. Don't worry. We can only give one video out a week. So it's hard to choose which videos are most important because they're all important. But this feeling of like stepping the hind leg, that she must actually seek the connection onto the overly light rein. But we get really easily consumed by the strong rein, and then we're like wanting to like flex them off of it and bend them, and that just like builds up the whole reason why it's tighter on that side. We actually want to go to the softer side and really get that horse connected equally, and that you can feel that you can like, as if your ring finger was just like touching the ring of the mouth, that something, softening happens with that. So that was actually really fun to work through that. And again, it's also about like riding with a little bit more activity. We were like, Eula used to always be like, Jessica, more activity. You guys have all heard my Eula Dalos stories, because there's a lot of like more control, Jessica, more preparation, more down seat, more look it out. I should go through actually like all of his awesome sayings, but more activity, more jump and canter. He was very much about the horse needed to be energetic and taking the rider somewhere, but absolutely without running. So speed is not impulsion, and it's like a whole nother conversation. But always thinking about, you want to have the horse really through and connected, both hind legs to both bits, and then a bit more like activity. So then also at Meg's and Katie's, I had 2 really fascinating seat lessons. And before this, I would have always said, like, I cannot teach like a walk lesson. Like, I am just not good at that. I'm a go-getter, and we gotta, like, get the horse like moving its body, and you know whatever. And but there was two riders, Emily and Jean, who I could see that there was a lack of balance in their hips. And what I mean by that was both hips weren't working exactly the same. And whether it's an injury or a weakness or whatever, it's really important that our hips really are equal, because we want the horse's hips to be equal, because straightening the horse and riding them forward is like the name of the game, riding the horse sound. And you can catch one of my lectures of riding the horse sound inside the academy. But that whole idea is like, if we're not moving evenly, like, the horse is not going to want to do it either. And it was interesting because both of them had Emily rode, actually, Rafa, who's Spanish horse, and then Jean rode her horse, Lestre, who's Spanish. And like, one was like, whoa, like spazzing out and like going all over the place and like hyperactive. And Emily needed to like find her center and be still in a way, without being stiff. And Jean's horse like stalls up from too much leg. And so I was like, okay, well, where is this in your hips that he is feeling contradicted from the drive of your leg? He's getting frustrated because he feels blocked by your seat. And so this is a fascinating thing, and I want all of you tomorrow when you go ride to really, like, I always talk about when we start to talk about feel and getting in touch with your body. Like, I imagine my brain going down into my seat, maybe my left hip first, and then my right hip. And then it's like, what is it actually doing? Like, what is even happening? Because, like, if we're not thinking about it, we can't even feel it. And so it's important to kind of like take that brain and just put it down in that body part, and feel like, what is it? What is happening? And we did all these wonderful leg exercises, and that video is coming out next Monday. And if anybody wants to join the academy, message me here or message me on Facebook Messenger. And yeah, I would love to get more people in, because the videos are getting really like detailed and interesting. And this next one coming out is all about different leg exercises. And so Emily found that the scissors worked for her, and Jean found that the pedaling worked for her. So that was interesting, that they both kind of had one hip that moved less than the other, and yet it wasn't like a one exercise for all fits. So that was also from a teacher. That was really interesting. But both of these ladies, it was so cool. They dropped their stirrups, and then they started like leg yielding away from their seat bone. So it was actually like a seat yield and not just a leg yield. And the horses were so cool, because they just like anything. The second day, Emily rode Nan, and she's just a doll of a horse. And she was like, yeah, well, when I try to leg yield, she gets like stiff in her neck and doesn't want to go forward. And by just focusing on her seat, none of that happened. Like, all the things that one could complain about, like, oh, he won't go sideways, he slows down, he gets stiff in the neck, there's a head tilt, all these things. It went away. It went away when her seat was correct. And so that was actually really fun and amazing to watch, because it's just always fascinating. I mean, Walter Zettel would always say, a horse can feel a fly. And you're like, I know, but I am kicking him and he will not go forward. So it's like, what is that? How is that? And it's amazing when you can take your legs off and get your hips following the horse's wave, it was awesome. It was really, really fun to watch. All of a sudden they're like trotting more forward and over the back and taking the rider somewhere without the rider pushing at all. And it all came from a better seat. So very, very cool. Um, because I always say the energy must flow as well. And all the movements from the rider must make sense to the horse. So that means like we can't be pulling on the reins and kicking them because they're like your foot's on the brake and now your foot's on the gas and like you're braking and gassing at the same time and I don't know what to do. It's the same thing if our seat is blocked and we're kicking or whipping the horse forward, they just don't feel like they can go anywhere. So we always want to make sure our seat is saying the correct things. So my last and favorite experience of the whole entire week was when I rode my new friend Cruiser. And Cruiser is at Laura's place, Laura Burkett, and he's a quarter horse. And I've known him for a couple years now. And this is again, like it's so easy to get stuck in what used to be, what you think might not ever be able to change. Like maybe your horse is super lazy and he's always behind your leg. Maybe the horse is always stiff in the neck. Like you start riding those problems and it's easy to then be, I don't want to say part of the problem, but you don't really allow the horse to be different either because you're busy riding the old problem. And it's so important. Charles always talks about ride the horse you want, not the one he's giving you. And that's a really powerful sentence I have used for all my life. Like I have some very fancy horses now, but I also have really normal horses. And I want to train them all really well and to each horse's best, ability, whatever that might be. That doesn't mean everyone has to go to Grand Prix or they're garbage. Or, I mean, that might mean I just want a beautiful right lead canter on the bit in balance and self-carriage and then a nice downward transition that it was my idea. Like we've all been on that horse that's like, right to the trot. And then it's like, so that's the first goal, right? And then the goals go on top of that. But Cruiser is this like really sweet quarter horse, and he's got this really big under neck, and it was just really easy to just get like distracted by the brace, and like you just think like, is this who he is? And how do I deal with this? And how could I ever change that? And then you just get down these rabbit holes of well, this is how I need to fix this, and then that's not going, so I'm going to go farther down that rabbit hole, and then before you know it, it's like, whoa, where am I? I need to get back to like just the straightforward. And so it was really, really amazing. I'll actually share some videos after we're done here because it was a really beautiful moment of my life, actually, because I had to really encourage him to like really pick up his feet and like, but really pull his neck out of his back. And really about the left leg, like just asking him to be aligned and then active and stepping to the bit. And then once I could feel he was like going to the bit, then it was like, give the rein and kick him and be like, you have to put your hind legs into the rein and into the bit and make your neck long. And it was a beautiful thing. I had so much fun with my new friend Cruiser. And some of the takeaways I want to share with you about that is always have a vision of what could this horse look like? What could this horse feel like? How could this horse move? I think it's really easy to get distracted. And I always tell my trainers who I mentor, it's really important to have a vision and get inspired by that horse. Like what is in there? What is in there? You don't know until you start asking what might come out. Like Isaac, our little rescue pony, he's learning canter pirouettes this week. Finally, it's amazing. We have been knocking on that door, but I have always had this vision of I know he's so smart. There's no reason why he can't learn it. And by golly, this week he's doing it. But it's this amazing thing of having this vision. And I always say, like, don't stop knocking until they finally answer the door. Even if it's a tiny answer, tiny answer, tiny answers, it's an answer. And you have to tell the horse, yes, I heard your answer. Yes, keep going on that, you know? And it's important to have this vision of what could that horse be? We just, I mean, if we think it's going to be a certain way, well then we've already put a ceiling on that horse's ability or what that horse might do with its life or how beautiful it might move or how sound it might be or what muscles it might have. And so it's important to keep that fresh vision. You know, I always say from my friend Teresa Buddha, keep your eye on the prize. What is the prize? What is that horse going to look like, feel like, move like? I think it's also important that we must show the horse the way. You know, it's a little bit like you have to like herd the horse into the right answer. And when they start to contribute to the question, you have to be like, yes, yes, keep, you know, and again, encouraging them to get curious about what is it that you're looking for? Why do I need to go like this? And you're like, because you're going to feel better when you do it. Here, just trust me. You know, feel it a little bit. And then they're like, okay, it's not so bad. Then you got to be like, yes, now let's go a little bit more into that right direction. And for me, you know, the biggest thing is self-carriage, and I call it full body usage. And that for me is why Charles and I always talk about that every horse has an international trot. Everyone has an IT. It's up to us to find how do we bring that out? How long will it be before the horse can show me that? But this full body usage, it doesn't matter if I'm getting on Liz's horse that has been in a standing martingale and has like this defensive muscles going on. It doesn't matter if I'm getting on Katie's wonderful Emma, who's going to be a superstar Grand Prix horse. Um, Cruiser, my new quarter horse friend. It doesn't matter the breed, the horse. It matters that we as riders and trainers help them find their full body usage. And that is what I call body harmony. And when it feels good, the horse will want to repeat it. When it feels, you know, not only does the horse's body need to work together in unity, but the rider's body has to work in unity with that horse as well. Because when it feels good to us, it also feels good to them. So here's a toast to finding body harmony, not only in your own body, but in the horse's body, and having you two all work together in a more harmonious, full body usage kind of way. So thank you guys for listening, and I will see you soon. Make it a great night. Bye.